Welcome back to Pro Tour Washington D.C. I'm still Randy Bueller. I'm still here with Chris Pakula, a fellow Pro Tour competitor, and it's now time for the second semifinal match. Here we've got Your Move Games going up against Team Antarctica.
This is the second semifinal match, also known as the real semifinal match here.
12 Pro Tour top 8s combined between all the members of these two teams, including U.S. Nationals.
Oh, 14.
14 including U.S. Nationals. And there's a Pestilence in the house.
Really, half those top 8s are Finkel, though. Oh boy, Pestilence, Sanctum Custodian, Heat Ray.
Team Antarctica was forced to go first by the higher seed Your Move Games, but they do get rewarded with a Pestilence.
This is the old Heat Ray Pestilence Custodian pick, where everyone else puts the Pestilence on the left, but I'm pretty sure JF is going to give that Pestilence to Steve.
Really?
That's what they usually do. They might switch it up if they suspect that Your Move does something different.
Note the absolute grace in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, by the way. All right, so Custodian goes first. Pestilence goes into the middle, as you predicted. What does Finkel take? Heat Ray?
Whoa, wait, what happened? That was backwards. That was not their regular...
Custodian on the right, Heat Ray on the left.
That is not what
Humphreys
they normally do.
Right on top of things. Humphreys takes absolute grace right after his opponent takes Pestilence.
Wow.
That Pestilence is not as good as it could have been.
I am very interested in why Finkel called an audible there.
Yeah.
That is very unusual for their draft strategy. I've drafted those guys a lot. Dano is 90% their player who plays red.
Interesting.
Draft.
What do you think about Sentinel Centaurs over Priest of Titania, which is what Rob Dougherty just did?
I have no problem with that.
Priest of Titania, mana acceleration.
I'm still trying to figure out the possible reason you would take
Custodian first and Heat Ray third.
Especially because you want red going left because you want Get You Slingers and Parkers. You want white going right because you want Tormented Angels and Field Surgeons.
Other way around, but you're right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it seems like you want the white player on the left because white's so good in Saga and Destiny, and it's pretty weak in Legacy. Red's the other way around. That's interesting. Is that just for disruption value?
Did Dano take the wrong card? Oh. If Dano took the wrong card, Finkel would have went over the table.
Zephyr's Embrace, Expunge. They've opened some good cards.
So now Finkel's blue-white. Or blue-red.
Obviously, you put Expunge in the Pestilence pack and Zephyr's Embrace in.
Alright, so what's going to happen here? Steve's going to go black-white and try to get some enchantment removal for that Absolute Grace. John's going to try to go blue-red for his Heat Ray and Zephyr's Embrace.
Why does he have a Heat Ray, though? Wouldn't he be better off blue-white?
Yes. No, not blue-white if he ends up against Darwin playing black, though. Isn't that exciting?
There's not much left in this pack. Well, there's a Symbiosis, which is pretty good. Dougherty takes Symbiosis. He's going red-green beatdown, or what?
There's an Opal Champion.
It's not bad against black. Speaking of need for enchantment removal.
There's a Bog Raider.
Steve-O has to be thinking splash white for enchantment removal right now, doesn't he?
Dano, oh yeah. Power Sync.
6. Draft. 5.
The only problem with their colors right now is if they want to draft all the colors. Steve could go black-green, which would be really weird.
Green? No, it's not that weird.
But it's weird in the middle seat. Black-green's pretty rare in the middle seat.
That's true.
Because if they don't do that, Dan has to play green-white.
He's playing against what looks to be evolving into a beat-down red-green deck, though, right?
Oh, that's true.
A lot of people think
green-white is
green-white against red-green.
See, that's why I don't like playing red-green. You're giving your opponent the gift of green-white. Right.
Green-white, all you have to do with the red-green deck, though, is get Weather Seed Elves, and you can beat green-white.
Agreed.
How does green-white remove a Weather Seed Elf?
Not that well.
All right, so this is the third pack. This is Finkel's pack now. There's Ravenous Scourge, Hermetic Study, Sentinel Flute.
So
Sickened.
He's playing against. They're playing against Team Sentinel Flute too. These guys played a Sentinel Flute-based deck in a constructed Pro Tour.
Sentinel Flute's the obvious pick, right?
I believe so, because nothing else is exciting at all.
Goblin Patrol. So what do you do on the other side?
Player 3.
The other
you put
side,
Veiled Sentry in Darwin's deck to go up against blue?
4. Draft.
No, it looks like they're going to...
5.
Humphreys is going to take...
Draft.
Yeah, Humphreys takes the Veiled Sentry. He just wants to be blue-white.
Serpent.
Yeah, Veiled Serpent.
1. Draft.
Hermetic Study.
2. Draft.
There's Dano getting the red. Steve-O gets sick. Or did Steve get sick and
Steve-O
Scourge?
wheeled Sick and Scourge, yeah.
Wow.
It's a pretty good wheel.
That's a heck of a wheel.
Draft.
Shivan Raptor over Goblin Patrol for Dano. Do you agree with that?
4.
Not sure.
Oh, interesting that Humphreys took the Goblin Patrol so that Shower of Sparks could go into Dougherty's deck.
So they like Shower
Draft.
Sparks version. Shower Sparks against...
5. Draft.
I don't know about that pick. I'd rather have Yellow Patrol than Shower Sparks.
I would too. That's why it surprised me. I was like, did they
Although
counter draft his teammate? But then they looked so confident. I was
Team
like,
Your Move
no,
Games
they-
is legendary for unusual drafting skills. Their drafting opinions always differ from the rest of the
That's
Pro
very
Tour.
true. That's very true.
Darwin Castle is absolutely famous for his first pick of the entire draft at Pro Tour New York last year. He opened up a pack, passed Rootwater Hunter, taking Soltari Foot Soldier. What I consider to be the most amazing pick in the history of the Pro Tour.
And he justified it saying, I never saw another one.
I never saw another Foot Soldier. It's,
Wouldn't have seen that one ninth either, would he? All right, Rock Black goes into Humphreys' deck now, right? They give Rock
Probably.
Black to Humphreys. Steve is in more desperate need of enchantment removal. Who's green on Antarctica?
no one. Probably. See, the problem is
All right, there's a...
Player
they don't have a
4.
green player, and they don't
Draft.
have a...
5.
Yeah, that's why I said Dan would have to go green-white.
Draft.
So Winding Worm, then Rock
6.
Black, then does Darwin take Dragon Blood or Living
Draft.
Shade?
Right.
Takes Dragon Blood.
1.
Hermetic, do they have a Study Crab now on
Draft.
Antarctica?
2.
Dano is blue for Study Crab.
Draft.
Steve-O gets
Green.
Living Shade, that seems good.
Draft.
Trying to draft
John
his the
takes
deck he won Pro
Great
Tour LA
Whale.
with.
Draft.
You're splitting blue?
Yeah.
2.
You're splitting blue. That
Draft.
means that Steve has to be green, right?
1.
No. Steve is
Draft.
going to play black-white,
6.
right?
Who's green? They
Draft.
have to have a green player.
5.
Dan will play green-white. Or
Draft.
now he's got all
Dan's
that
playing
blue,
has
though.
Hermetic
4.
Study and Horseshoe Crab.
So Dan will play...
Finkel pointed at you. You
4.
take this Horseshoe Crab.
Well, then I guess they assume that their
5.
Sanctum Custodian
Draft.
bit the dust and
6.
Dan's blue-green.
Draft.
Steve has to be their white mage. He needs enchantment removal.
Green has enchantment removal, Chris. Green has just as much
All he has
enchantment
left is
removal as white.
Volcani's Decree. There's not as much left. There's clears and erases. And...
There's 2 packs worth of hushes left.
All right, there are 2 packs with the hushes.
I mean, we'll see. If he doesn't
So
get a
that's-
hush, then he's relying on Multani's Decree. But yeah, meanwhile, Custodian is in Dan's pile, right? Dan has a Custodian in his pile and some blue cards. They're going to give Dan O the blue-white deck.
Against red-green, that's fine. He gets Walls of Glare. It's all good.
You think that Voice of Grace will go good in Rob Humphrey's deck against Steve O's mono-black strategy?
Dave would probably like Voice of Grace.
What else is in this pack?
We got a Cridian, a Wild Dog. We got a lot of green monsters and a Phyrexian Ghoul.
Titania's Chosen. Is there a green on green matchup for the Chosen to go into?
No. Well, there's no green
There's
team,
no green on Antarctica, right?
which I'm all for. I was
That would be
all for adopting a no-green strategy.
that would be really unconventional if they do it.
That'd be very unusual for them. Usually they use green as a counter-drafting deck.
Right. Yeah, I've seen Finkel play a 3-color green deck multiple times.
I
He just
lost
tries to get
Player
Grangers and
5.
Elders and
last
crap, whatever.
draft I played with Finkel. His
Voice
green-white deck kept
Draft.
killing me with Lightning Dragon.
1. Draft.
So there's Rob Red.
And Rob Red, Dano's looking blue-white. He's blue-white against red-green.
There's Steve goes green.
Steve takes the dog. He does look green.
I don't like Wild Dogs as
Draft.
In a splash color, it doesn't
It's
seem very good.
4.
Why wouldn't he take a Cridian anyway?
I don't-
Isn't a Cridian better than Wild Dogs if you have Pestilence in your deck?
because it's against blue-white. I don't know.
Draft.
They don't want Rob to have the Wild Dogs. It's very unusual.
6.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Wild Dogs
Draft.
in black-green.
5. Draft. 5. Draft. 6. Draft. 1.
Clean
Draft.
up the last of the pack.
Blue-white's an okay matchup, I guess.
A lot of people think blue-white has the advantage against green-red. That's certainly true.
Oh, blue-white's great against green-red. I'm wondering what the blue-white black-green matchup. There's a disenchanted.
Yeah, there's the disenchant that Steve could use if he was white, but they look like they've committed Dan to going white.
See, I think.
Boy, this draft would have gone so much better for Antarctica if they'd received. Don't you think?
How would it have went if they would have taken if they would have went Heat Ray Custodian instead? That's what I'm interested in knowing. Although blue-red isn't great against red-green, so. This is where
It's just that your move made perfect use of the receiving option.
Right, well, Absolute
they watched
Grace-
they watched where the Pestilence went. Like, there's Pestilence with Absolute Grace in the fact. There's no way for
Player
Antarctica
6.
to play that.
Right.
They're just hosed by
Draft.
the fact that they're going first, right?
Agreed.
1.
Wherever the Pestilence goes, Absolute Grace
Draft.
goes against it.
2. Draft.
Steve gets
Steve gets the disenchant.
Draft.
See, Steve is going to try to do a
4.
Granger Elder thing, maybe?
Draft.
Elder thing in the middle.
They have
5.
no problem with Pestilence and the
Draft.
Yavimai Granger Elder
5.
3-color weirdness.
Fair enough.
Draft.